When culture meets crypto, you get Solana. It's a bold statement, but in a world where most blockchains are obsessed with technical jargon, Solana did something completely different. It didn't just build technology, it sparked a movement. From groundbreaking NFT art and experimental music to viral memes and even digital fashion, Solana transcended its code. It wasn't just another network, it was a vibe. Welcome to DCA Crypto. Today we're diving deep into the story of how a vibrant mix of celebrities, creators, and passionate communities transformed Solana from a mere string of code into a cultural phenomenon. Let's explore how they made it more than a blockchain. They made it culture. It all started with the explosive NFT boom of 2021. While Ethereum was the reigning king, it had its problems. Painfully slow transaction times and gas fees that could make your wallet cry. This created a perfect opening for a challenger. Solana stepped onto the scene with a compelling offer, lightning-fast speed and incredibly low fees. This wasn't just a technical upgrade. It was a revolution for creators. Suddenly, artists who were priced out of Ethereum could mint their work affordably. Collectors could trade assets without worrying about exorbitant costs. This is when we saw the birth of legendary collections like the Degenerate Ape Academy. They weren't just JPEGs, they were a statement. They proved that a thriving NFT ecosystem could exist and flourish outside of Ethereum. This initial success was like a beacon, attracting a new wave of builders and artists. Then came DeGods, MadLads, and Y00Ts. These weren't just copycat projects, they brought a fresh, rebellious identity to the space. They built communities that were fiercely loyal and culturally relevant. They mastered the art of hype, storytelling, and brand building in a way no one had seen before. The vibe was different. It was less about formal art galleries and more about street culture, memes, and a sense of belonging to an exclusive yet inclusive club. This perfect storm of speed, low costs, and a unique identity turned Solana into the people's network. Artists, streamers, gamers, and influencers from all corners of the internet began to embrace it. It was no longer a niche for crypto nerds. It was becoming a playground for the creative class. This was the moment Solana started its journey from being a piece of technology to becoming a cultural touchstone. The foundation was laid, and the real stars of the show were about to make their entrance. This is where the story gets really interesting. A blockchain is just code until people give it a soul. For Solana, that soul came from its most prominent figures. Enter the influencers, the founders, and the storytellers. People like Anatoly Yakovenko, one of Solana's co-founders, wasn't just a brilliant engineer in an ivory tower. He was accessible, constantly engaging with the community on X, formerly Twitter, explaining complex ideas in simple terms, and sharing his vision for a decentralized future. He gave the project a face and a voice of technical genius. Alongside him was Raj Gokal, another co-founder, who played the role of the calm, strategic visionary. While Anatoly was deep in the technical weeds, Raj was connecting with partners, evangelizing the ecosystem, and steering the ship with a steady hand. His presence on podcasts and at live events provided a sense of stability and long-term ambition that resonated with both developers and investors. Together, Anatoly and Raj weren't just executives, they became personalities, the founding fathers of a digital nation. But perhaps no one embodied the cultural shift more than Frank DeGods. As the enigmatic founder of DeGods and Y00Ts, he became a master storyteller. He understood that NFTs weren't just about the art, they were about the narrative, the community, and the experience. He used social media like a stage, creating drama, suspense, and excitement. He turned project updates into blockbuster events. Frank made the Solana ecosystem feel human, emotional, and unpredictable. He showed that a founder could be a celebrity, and a project could be a media empire. These figures weren't just building a product. They were cultivating a following. Their transparency, their passion, and their direct engagement with their audience turned Solana into something people could believe in on a personal level. It wasn't just about investing in a token. It was about joining a tribe led by charismatic and authentic leaders. This human element was the secret sauce that prepared Solana for its next big leap. And then the brands started to pay attention. Seeing the vibrant community and cultural energy, major companies began to dip their toes into the Solana ecosystem. We saw fashion brands launching NFT collections, beverage companies creating loyalty programs, and even payment giants like Visa experimenting with Solana for stablecoin settlements. This wasn't just about validation, it was about integration. Solana was breaking out of the crypto bubble and entering the real world. Every brand partnership, every celebrity endorsement, every real-world event sponsored by a Solana project blurred the lines between the digital and the physical. NFTs weren't just for profile pictures anymore. They were becoming tickets to exclusive events, proof of ownership for physical goods, and keys to unique experiences. The ecosystem was maturing from a speculative playground into a legitimate platform for commerce and culture, setting the stage for an even bigger explosion of creativity. This is where all the pieces came together. The technology, the personalities, and the brand integrations created a fertile ground for a cultural explosion. Solana became more than tech. It became pure energy. Music creators, tired of the predatory models of the traditional industry, started releasing tracks as NFTs on Solana. This allowed them to connect directly with their fans, sell their music, and build a community that was invested in their success, both literally and figuratively. Streamers and content creators saw an opportunity to redefine their relationship with their audience. Instead of relying on platforms like Twitch or YouTube for monetization, they began selling NFT-based memberships. These tokens granted fans access to exclusive content, private chats, and a direct line to their favorite creators. It was a paradigm shift from passive consumption to active participation. Your NFT wasn't just a collectible, it was your backstage pass. And then there were the communities themselves. Projects like the MadLads took community building to an art form. It wasn't just a Discord server. It was a global social club. They organized meetups, created viral content, and fostered an identity so strong that it rivaled the fandom of modern pop culture icons. Being a MadLad meant something. It was a signal that you were part of the future, part of a movement that was rewriting the rules of the internet. At this point, the conversation around Solana fundamentally changed. People were no longer just talking about its transactions per second or its consensus mechanism. They were talking about the art, the music, the memes, and the sense of community. The focus shifted from blockchain performance to a feeling of belonging. Solana had achieved the holy grail for any technology. It had become invisible. It was simply the foundation upon which culture was being built. It proved that a blockchain could have a personality, a swagger, and a soul. So, what's the big lesson here? What can we learn from Solana's incredible journey? Here's the simple truth. Crypto projects that endure aren't built with code alone. They are built with belief. They are forged in the fires of community, creativity, and shared culture. You can have the fastest, most scalable, and most technologically advanced blockchain in the world, but if no one cares, if no one is building on it, if no one is creating stories around it, it's just a ghost chain, an empty digital cathedral. Solana's biggest success wasn't its TPS, though that certainly helped. Its true triumph was fostering an environment where people felt empowered to create, connect, and belong. It was the trust that the founders built through their transparency. It was the creativity unleashed by artists and developers who finally had a platform that matched their speed and ambition. And most importantly, it was the community that rallied together through the highs of the bull market and the lows of the crypto winter, believing in a shared vision. Solana taught the entire industry a critical lesson. Technology is the canvas, but culture is the paint. And as long as culture, the artists, the musicians, the creators, the dreamers, keeps choosing Solana as its canvas, this blockchain will not only survive, it will thrive. Because you can't kill a vibe. If this story inspired you, and you believe in the power of community to shape the future, then do us a favor. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with a friend who needs to see the human side of crypto. This is DCA Crypto, where we decode the stories and strategies behind the blockchain revolution. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.